everyone, I'm Rex, welcome back to another Train Sim 6 review video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new Preston to Crewe route by Just Trains. So yes, this section of the West Coast Main Line between Crewe and Preston is now available to buy for Gen 9 consoles and PC for Train Sim 6 and is set in the 1980s. I will be showing you what you get with the route, what layers you can expect to see, look at the trainer modules, look at the scenarios they bring, and then run a timetabled service, as well as looking at the interiors of the Mark IIDs and Mark IIEs. Without further ado, let's get into this review video. Okay, so you join me in the Train Sim 6 menu. We're going to be going to the trains, to the train depot, and we're going to be going to trainer modules. First one is for the Class 86-4 BR Blue, which has two training modules. I highly recommend trying these out, which is the Preston to Crewe route introduction and the introduction to the 86-4. The Class 08 BR Blue Type A, which I highly recommend trying out. The Class 20 BR Blue head code box, which has two, which is the introduction and the slow speed controller and coal unloading introduction. The 47-3, which has basically the same as the Class 20, slow speed controller and coal loading introduction. Okay, so now we're going to be going to choose a route where West Coast Main Line Crewe to Preston is. And we have the training modules here as well. We also have 5 scenarios for the route. So these are merry-go-round, out with a bang, Thunderbirds are go, locomotive on test, and deep coal. If I'm being completely honest, I want to try out Thunderbirds are go because this is an interesting scenario where overhead line issues have resulted in diesel locos being deployed, perform Thunderbird duties by dragging electric trains through the affected section. And of course, we got into the timetable, which has an interesting number of services, but I have been made aware that the 31, the 40 and the 45 services are missing. They do know about this, so they'll probably make a patch for this at some point. But we do have in total 132 86-4 services, 46 Class 101 services, 32 Class 08 services, 23 Class 142 services, 207 Class 20 services, 238 47-3 services, 48 47-4 services, 59 86-2 services, and 98 87 services. So, let's have a look at the 86-4 then, because that's what we're going to be driving today. We're going to be just driving the normal BR Blue, which has plenty, and I mean plenty of services, starting from at least midnight, going all the way down, all the way through lunchtime, all the way down to the evening, and all the way into the night. As you notice, a lot of them have this ticket symbol, so some of them you can guard. The ones that don't have a ticket symbol, as you know, you can't guard them, but there are plenty of ones that you can actually guard on this route, especially during the day, which is really, really good. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into a service that leaves Preston, and I'm going to go as far as probably Warrington Bank Quay. So I'll see you then once I've loaded up this service. And here we are with 1 Mike 33 Glasgow Central to Birmingham New Street. Let's go. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this door. Oh, it's loud in here. Open the circuit trip there for the DSD. Or rather close it. Set this on. Set that on. And then we'll open up the doors. Turn the marker lights on. Headlights spare on. Unlock everything. And let's get this service powering up. I see a pacer. Lovely. So what kind of carriages do we have? Okay, so I can immediately tell these are Mark IIIs. So we don't have the new rakes just yet. Oh, hang on. What's going on here? How was I forced out the roof? That's weird. Anyways, do we have a tail light on? Yes, we do. Nice. So I'm trialling out putting my Train Sim World in HD textures rather than 4K to see if this will work. So I'm hoping it'll work. So we'll try that again. There we go. Now we can do that. Right. Let's get going. Oh. Now, I don't know if anybody was able to hear that. I'm hoping you guys were. But that was actually an onboard announcement. That sounds really cool, guys. So yes, we are off to Wigan North Western. So before Preston and Crewe came out, the furthest south we could go on this route was Ormskirk. We couldn't really go further down because obviously we used to get a you've entered the represented area. Whereas now Now, again, I don't know if you were able to hear that, but I certainly was. That was a buffet car announcement saying that the buffet car is now open. I love that. That nice little, just that nice little bit of realism there. I love it. Absolutely fantastic. But yeah, as I was saying, we can now go south of here thanks to Preston and Crewe being on Train Sim World now. So whereas before we couldn't be able to go as far as probably that bridge, if I remember rightly, now we can. We are limited to 100 miles per hour. We're on the number 2 end. Nice. So obviously we've got this down here, which is the class 81, 85, 86 and 87 locomotives, which is really cool. It's like a guide manual as well. Did you see a limited clearance sign there? Obviously, as you can tell, this works as intended, but we get like a whistle blown rather than what you get from the driver on the 86-2, so that's interesting. That's some differences I've noticed straight away, along with the announcements themselves. Likewise for the safeties, are in the same place really. Cab layout, it doesn't really look too much different. Obviously apart from that, of course, which is a nice addition. But yeah, everything else is just basically it. And of course the unit number as well, which we're 86420. Passing through Leyland. Lovely. It's nice to actually see Leyland. Oh yeah, that sign does actually need fixing. But it's fine, things like that happen. As you can tell, I did just have blurred textures there, but because I'm on HD rather than 4K graphics, it's refixed itself. Let's have a nice look around the route then, shall we? Loads of stuff on the outside. It's not just inside the train that looks really cool, it's outside the train as well. Got a Mark 1 guard carriage there. Lovely rake of Mark 3s as well. Mark 3A, should I more say. We've actually got people inside as well. Hey, that's cool. It's nice to know that dropping down to HD graphics really does actually help fix the blurred texture issues. So that's something I might be able to forward to plenty of console players. I know it's a real bummer that we're having to drop down our graphics, but at the end of the day, if we're not getting blurries with this, it's a win-win, I would say. And obviously it helps highlight where the issue is so it can be fixed faster. But anyways, my first impressions of the 86-4, it's a really nice locomotive, a perfect addition to my train sumo collection. Another one going past there with some Mark 3s. And of course, you can't set both horns off, so that's a good thing. Just loving the flybys. And the rail singing as well. That is perfect. That was the real test there. Textures have come back sound. Happy with that, I really am. Oh, look at that. Wonder what that might be. Maybe like a steelworks factory or something? It looks interesting. Oh, and I've got like a nice little lake around here as well. Oh, I like that. Just absolutely loving the scenery around here. We are not too far away from Wigan North Western now, so just got to keep going with the speed so we can get there on time. I'm noticing that's gone a bit blurry there. It's starting to go a bit blurry up there as well. But when you zoom out, it's fine. I wonder if it's an FOV issue. You know, where as soon as it comes into a player's field of view, that's it, the textures just go terribly bad. I'm just wondering, because that could be what the core issue is. Of course, the windows are interactable. Obviously, that phone on there is not. That's interactable. Cab lights. Do they switch on? Yeah, they look like they do. Certainly do, yes. Okay, so that's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Bardic, that works, no problem. So I wonder if we'll get an announcement for arriving into Wigan North Western. Right, well I'm going to start putting in the brakes now, because obviously it does take a while for these 86-4s to stop. I have done a test run on this before, but I was never really inside the cab to hear the announcement, so I didn't even know they were there. So let's hear it, shall we? Parcels and express service there. Oh wow, look at the industry around here at Wigan North Western. Loads of residential areas as well. So yes, the textures went on that, I'm afraid to say, and on that as well. And on that as well. But at least it worked for so long. We did just get an announcement there, but I have to admit it is very quiet in the cab. HFI, fair enough. Hi-fi. There we go, let's...
Sandwell and Dudley, and Birmingham New Street. First class is situated towards the front of this train. A buffet serving hot and cold refreshments is available on this train. Will passengers intending on travelling on this service please board the train now, as it is ready to leave. Platform 4 for the 10:25 service to Birmingham New Street, which is ready to leave.
Oh, I love that. They've even got the echo as well from the other speaker being at least a second behind. Absolutely fantastic, that is. I'm a big fan of that. Yes, we are here at Wigan... Is it Wigan? Yeah, Wigan North Western. So what I'm going to do... Lock the doors. And get us going. Off to Warrington Bank Quay. Now I'm not going to record the whole journey, but what I am going to do is, once we leave Wigan North Western, I'll jump over to me, probably on Overshap, looking at the Mark II Ds and Es. Lovely. have the textures fixed themselves again? I'm hoping so. Mostly. That's still very readable in a way, but not in a way. So some textures have come back, some of them haven't. Anyways, I've tried this just to see if it'll work. Unfortunately it hasn't, so I can obviously forward this back. But yeah, loving the journey to Warrington Bank Quay. I'll now pass you over to myself again, who will probably be at Overshap to look at the Mark II Ds and Mark II Es. Okay, so you join me on Overshap where we're going to be looking over the Mark II Ds and the Mark II Es. So let's head over to this one first, which is the Mark II D BKF, I think it is. So let's have a look inside. As this is the first class carriage, which looks really nice in here actually. I really do like this. Got a nice little Intercity logo there. Seat numbers as well. It's really nice. I do like the look of these. Of course, it's kind of the same throughout, you know, no differences apart from the seat numbers as well. Lighting in the carriage as well. Probably the same throughout. Of course, we do have a door here. And then we have like the guard carriage part as well. So obviously, you can turn the train lights off. And on again. Oh, that makes a nice little noise to make sure that you know that the lights are on. Of course, we do have the guards cabinet as well. So the public address system can be turned on or off. You know, you can give a little as well, you know, if you're guarding. Do like that. And of course, you do have the area for like luggages. So, you know, large bits of luggage, parcels and things like that can go inside here. So overall, a pretty decent carriage here. And of course, a foam fire extinguisher, because why not, eh? Obviously we do have a toilet here, but that's engaged. So the Mark II D's FK, which has a toilet engaged as well. So looking inside here, pretty much the same with the door, you can open and close. And it's the same throughout here. Of course, going up to seat 42 here. So there's 42 seats in total, all the way up and down this area, which is really cool. Open through this side, it's basically the same thing with, of course, fire extinguisher and another toilet. So there's two toilets in this carriage. It's really cool. Then we'll go through this other one, which is another first class carriage, but is not the Intercity one. So we'll see how it differs. Not much interior difference, if I'm being honest. They're kind of the same throughout. You know, doesn't have like a blue interior, which I was kind of hoping it would. Which is a shame, but oh well. And of course, a foam fire extinguisher and another toilet. Let's look through the TSO then, which is the BR Blue. So, looking through these carriages, it just gives me West Coast Main Line Preston to Carlisle vibes with the 86-2. Oh, hang on. That's a little bit of a glitch. That's interesting. Of course, that does say luggage there. So yeah, they kind of look similar to the Mark II Fs, I would say. The Intercity one, which is next door to us. And of course, the last one that we can look through. Oh, it's got a BR Blue interior. Interesting. Okay. I was more expecting like an Intercity interior, if I'm being honest. Of course, same glitch on that door there. I wonder if it's the same on this door as well. Oh yeah, it is. So here we go with the Mark II F. Not much of a difference, is there? Of course, the door closes immediately on the Mark II F, which comes from Shap. But in terms of differences, yeah, there really isn't really much of a difference. Okay, so that is the Mark II Es and the Mark II Ds. So, let's jump back to Warrington Bank Quay. And just like that, we are here at Warrington Bank Quay. I would have filmed me coming in, but unfortunately I did forget that. So, yeah. Hopefully you've had a nice look at the Mark II Ds and Es. The textures have actually started to come back a bit. So whatever they've done here, or they've gone again. But whatever they've done here, Just Trains, they need to figure out what they've done here because this is working. Can't really say much for inside the locomotive though, so I wonder if it is an FOV kind of issue. You know, as soon as it comes into the player's field of view, that's it, the textures just start going all bad. So I wonder if that's something they could probably look at. But anyways, I'm going to be leaving this drive here, and then I'll be coming to my final thoughts. So I'll see you there. Okay, so I'm going to be going through my final thoughts on the Crewe to Preston route now. So, what do I think about the route so far? I think the route is fantastic. It runs okay. There are obviously issues with the textures as well, which you saw in that bit where I went from Preston to Wigan North Western, of course, and then to Warrington Bank Quay as well, which also at Warrington the textures almost try to restore themselves. So there is obviously that problem. Of course, I also heard that there is crashing on Xbox issues as well. So of course, if you're an Xbox player and you're watching this, this is just a friendly heads up. As well for the route, it's nice to have a connection between Crewe and Preston. Of course, I'm going to be going over to the locomotives which start on this route. But looking around, it's nice to see Crewe in an 80s look. It is nice to see other stations dotted across the route as well. Leyland Nationals as well going across. I've noticed them as well. And it's just really fantastic. Over here we have the Class 08 shunter as well, which is the Type A, which I think is a lovely addition to this route. We also have the 47-3, the 20, and of course the 86 that we were driving earlier. So let's get ourselves inside the 86, as it's a bit noisy out there. We'll just get ourselves sat down here while we do our nice outro. So, if I was to give a good rating for this route, I think a solid 8 out of 10 would be appropriate. Of course, the blur textures does reduce it by a point, and as well as a few passenger spawn issues at Crewe. But other than that, this route is fantastic. Would I recommend it to anybody else? On a higher end PC, yes. On a lower end PC, you know, have a look at other people who are looking on the route. Same with Xbox, you know. I would probably give this a miss until, of course, they can fix the crashing issues. For PlayStation 5 users, yes, I would definitely recommend. Of course, do beware of the textures issue as well. But anyways, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please do comment down below what you thought. Subscribe if you haven't already. We are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. Leave a like and I will see you all in the next video. But until then, see you all later.